Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Has anybody heard of that? SOX. Has anyone heard of Enron?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened at Enron?
One still wants to.
Huh?
One still wants to.
Yeah. What happened at Enron? Why did people go to jail?
Because they didn't report their financial statements correctly.
More than, but like by error.
No.
Fraud.
So they were fraudulently reporting their financial results to a pretty extreme degree, and that's among other things. Do you think of any other companies where this happened? Have you heard of any other? Huh? Bernie Madoff. That was a little bit different. It was a giant Ponzi scheme. But I hear he's actually really popular in jail. Have you heard about that? Has anyone read about that? He's like people like give him a lot of respect in jail. I mean, he's the biggest criminal in there, really. So after Enron and that happened, Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. So we'll talk about internal control testing and substantive testing. So what is an internal control? We've got some examples up here. Basically, an internal control is just a process designed to make sure that the financial reporting is accurate. So we have some examples up here. Levels of signature approval. So let's say that you have the AP department of ExxonMobil wants to buy a new truck. It costs $100,000. That'd be a pretty routine transaction. Maybe you have like a middle manager sign off on something like that. What about if they want to buy a new oil well for $100 million? You want somebody higher in the company to review and approve that transaction, right? And so the company would have a control that says, if we buy something over $1 million, we want this level of person reviewing it. If we buy something over $10 million, we want this level of person reviewing it. And so what I would do to go check that to see if that control is working, I would just select like 8 whatever sample transactions I would have and say, well, okay, here's this level, did the appropriate person approve it? What do you think, what does that do for me?
Checks to make sure that nobody's just ripping off.
Right, so make sure that no one's just going out and writing checks for stuff, writing checks for themselves, doing whatever, there's appropriate review and approval. Time cards, there'd be a control that maybe someone went and double checked the time cards of people that are clocking in and clocking out. Are the people clocking in and clocking out correctly? And then you can have certain controls. So like if you have somebody compiling, John worked 8 hours, Omar worked 10 hours, whatever. Make sure that it's 8 and 10. Someone didn't have an error. It said like 400 hours a week. So you just have like a system control. Make sure you're not overpaying people. Bank reconciliation. Who has a checking account here? Everyone, almost. Do you balance your checkbooks? Does anyone have a clue how to balance a checkbook? Nicholas? How do you balance a checkbook?
Everything I put into the account, first of all, right in, and then all things I purchase with the credit card, I will deduct from that, and there's like different things you can add into that, but that's primary.
Why is it important to do that?
To know how much money's in your account, so that
Right,
you don't buy
because there's timing differences, right? If you write a check, the bank doesn't know you wrote a check until the person you gave it to goes and cashes it, right? So you have to make sure you have enough money to do that. So almost every client I've ever been on does bank reconciliations, and we go out and check that those are being performed. And then the other kind of control you have are entity level control. These are the fun ones that we usually make new hires go do. For instance, at ResCare, my first client, like fresh out of school, I went over there, and they had a control where they had a fraud hotline. Why is a fraud hotline important? It's like a hotline, 1-800 number you call if you saw someone committing fraud, a whistleblower type thing.
somebody might actually be committing fraud.
Right, it's important. And so, let's say that you worked at Darden and you saw somebody committing fraud. What would you do? How would you find out what the phone number was?
You go online.
Yeah, you can go online. At Risker, they had it posted at every refrigerator in every bank, in every break room, on every floor of the building, 26 stories. So they sent me to go to every break room, on every floor, and check that there's a sign posted with that fraud hotline. Those are the things you can look forward to in your first year of public accounting. We also just mess with people sometimes. There's a little bit of hazing that goes on, but it shouldn't scare you away. We used to tell people that we have interns go out and do a plant inventory. We'd have them go and note where all the plants in the building were. Are you familiar with the term footing? It just basically means to add up. So say, you know, this column number foots. I had a really mean old man make me foot 3 pages of a phone book. And I told him what it was. And he said, no, that's wrong. There's no way he could have known what the phone book added up to. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm not trying to, these are mildly fake stories. HR policy and procedures. The other fraud hotline, Young's got a fraud hotline. And every year I would call it and prank it because they thought I was good at it. So I'd call up and make up some fraud. And I'd tell them, make up names of people that were committing this fraud and say, oh, it's too scared to tell anybody about it. And then we would go and make sure that it was reported to the proper channels. And then most of the time they would freak out because one year I gave them my real name. So, you know, hey, it's Robert Duncan. I work at, you know, the headquarters. So they immediately do a search for all the Robert Duncans in the corporation. And they found a guy that worked at a Taco Bell in California and called this guy up. And he was like, did you call the fraud hotline? Like, we need more information about this. And it scared the crap out of the guy. So we started making sure the names we used were fake. And then employee training. Who's had a job here? A few of you. Did you have to go to training the first few days, Graham? No? They just threw you into it?
I'm a lifeguard, so you gotta train before.
Right. Right. What other jobs have you all had? The no training lifeguard. Where's your pool? What job do you ever go?
Actually, I work at a pool store.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to learn all the chemicals and stuff. And
Do they show you videos or anything?
yeah, like a year after I started working there, they showed me a video.
What was the video?
It was like some products and how to use them and stuff that have been in this store since I started working there.
What else? What other jobs have you had?
I work at Sears.
Yeah. I bet the big corporations make you watch a ton of videos, don't they?
Yeah.
About like shrinkage,
And then harassment.
sexual harassment videos. Those are hilarious.